while we're on the workout part,
Yeah.
Of course, sodium is going to be another one.
Sodium.
In fact,
But
Huberman says his is
I thought
number
salty
one.
foods are bad for you.
Yeah, I feel like we could do so many different podcasts just on each of these things. But anyway, the Salt Fix, great book. You can go deep into that. But again, low salt is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad for your health. And of course, excess salt. But there's this kind of sweet spot is much higher than what most people might think in any research that I've seen. So, and again, when you're working out, and of course, Element, which has the sodium, a little bit of magnesium and potassium in there, for working out is super important.
Yeah, so, what does it do? Why is it important?
So sodium is literally, so when you work out, what you're doing is you're sending a signal for the muscles to contract. So it's like literally electrons, like electricity going in, and then the calcium is released, and then boom, the muscle contracts. So sodium is essential for that. And if you don't have enough sodium, that won't work very well.
So I think a lot of people are a little bit scared of sodium. They're like, hey, if you want to be healthy, don't eat salty foods. It's not good for your heart. It's bad for your blood pressure. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship of salt and potassium and the importance of that proper ratio?
Yeah.
To put people at ease, I guess.
Yeah, because so as far as I know, when you are going to take sodium, obviously, again, like everything has balances, and certain things work, like I talked about, for instance, vitamin A and D, they sort of work together. And then sodium, and minerals in general, but sodium and potassium. So you need, if you're going to just increase one without the other, then you end up with this, everything's out of balance. Whereas you keep them all within balance. So as far as I know, and I should double check this, but if you have enough potassium, that protects you from any of the issues with too much sodium. Now, again, I think it's way over, if you look at the research, and again, I should really refer to some other people that have gone much deeper, but in the Salt Fix book, you can get all this info. Where, there's one study that shows that if you take sodium, that it can temporarily cause your blood pressure to increase a little bit. But the net effect and overall, it doesn't seem to have much of a negative effect. Now, if you've got extreme hypertension, then you may need to be careful. Check with your doctor, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But
I don't feel like I feel like people take that as their number one intervention. It's like they'll eat all the terrible foods and not exercise. And like, hey, I'm being healthy tonight. No salt for me. I'm like, I feel like our priorities are a little out of whack there.
Completely. And the funny thing is, healthy people that are avoiding salt can end up, like I said, it could be way worse because then their sodium is way too low. Sodium is essential for life, essential for so many things. And again, naturally, we had large amounts of sodium. Think of what we did before refrigeration. How do we stop foods from spoiling?
Smothered it in salt.
Everything was like loads of salt everywhere.
Yeah.
And we were fine. You know?
Yeah.
So that's another thing I always just go back to, well, okay, is this really a problem if it's something that we took way more of in the past before we had all these health issues?
Sure.
You know, so that's the way I kind of look at these things. But so I definitely think optimum levels of sodium and creatine is going to be incredibly important for working out, for training, for muscle tissue.
Awesome.